Good morning, guys. On a very special episode of AP Productions, I'm here introducing Mr. Rajat Verma, the VP of Tech at Wells Fargo. From overcoming adversity, obesity, problems throughout life, and a rough upbringing, only to come out on top. Most of you know him as Rajat Verma. I know him as my big brother. Round of applause.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going? How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I'm very happy to have you over here. You're my first official guest,
Yeah,
so this is cool.
yeah. This is my first official podcast,
Wow,
so it's a good time. It's the first time for both of us.
guess we really started something. So I want us to get right into this. You had to become a man at a very early age due to certain situations. Your father had gone into a very bad car accident when you were 18 and you had to take over. Can you explain to us what the situation was and what happened and what you had to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a long story. So, just to give you the important points of it. So, I wasn't a great kid myself, and I have to admit that I wasn't great in high school. And I mean, this, I was a high school dropout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not graduate high school. So I dropped out of high school, and I think I dropped out at like 16, 17, something around that age. So at the time, I had no high school degree and no college prospect. And I'm coming of age when people usually tend to go to college and all that. And my parents are like super stressed out. Like imagine having a child born and raised in America. You're an immigrant family. You come to America for a future, a great life, and you want your kids to have a good life, and your son becomes a high school dropout. It's
Yeah.
really insane. So my dad was like really stressed out, and I'm just pointing out some things and then randomly one day he just gets into an accident, and he was walking on the street and he just gets run over by a drunk driver and he goes flying. Apparently, he went flying like half a block. He ended up breaking both of his legs, both of his arms. He ended up in a coma for a couple of weeks, and he was sedated for a couple of months, like for a good amount of time because he had so many surgeries. And during this time period, going through all of this, I was also doing my GED.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm bringing up the story of high school. So my dad goes to the accident, and I'm trying to get my GED and going through all of this process. And at the same time, I'm also like, as a man in our culture, I'm sure you know this, the next kin, which is me, is supposed to take over the house expenses.
Yes.
So that's when I started driving a taxi as well. So my dad was like, I come to this country and I come for a better life. And my dad drove a cab, and he's like, I never thought I would see a day where my son would drive a cab because I'm doing what I'm doing, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Wow.
But then I ended up driving a cab, and at the same time drove a cab, and I used to go down Jamaica Ave in those Lincoln Town cars.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
gypsy cabs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was doing the gypsy cab at that time because I was working on my TLC license to get it, but you had to be of age and all that. So I was doing the gypsy cab thing, going down Jamaica Avenue. You know how risky those things
Oh
are.
my God. Yeah.
Man, I was like pulling up at every bus stop. You want to hop in for $1? So yeah, I would just run the bus route, and I was like, you come in for they would pay like $1.25 at that time, and I was like, I'll charge you $1. I'll drop you off wherever you want. And I had to take over the expenses. So doing all that, got my GED, and I was 18 years old. And I remember one day, the doctor just calls my mom like he woke up.
Wow.
Yeah, I will never forget that day. Yeah. So me and my dad have like a lot of love for each other, regardless of we're men. We butt heads a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we have a lot of love, and it was a very emotional day for me. I feel teary eyed right now, but
Yeah.
so then eventually he wakes up, but he's not the same man no more, and he just wasn't the same. He just wasn't physically the same, mentally the same. He wakes up and he starts. I would never forget that. I don't think I even told you this. he was talking crazy for like a month,
Wow.
like mentally insane.
Wow.
Apparently, the doctor told us this, like when you're in a coma, you're living a alternative life in your head, like you're
Wow.
literally living it. So he wakes up, he didn't recognize me.
What?
He didn't recognize me. He didn't recognize my mom, and he was just like he was talking about us to us. He's like he was telling me he was like, "Where's Rajat?"
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
He's like, "Where's my son? I'm really worried about my son. He's not doing good in life. He's not doing this. He's like he's." And then he started saying some wild stuff like he's in trouble. We have to save him. We have to save him. He's telling me this. He's telling my mom
Wow.
this. He's telling my his brother, his my uncle, and he was just talking crazy for a very long time. And seeing that really showed me like I think it really showed me that is that how much he cared for me
Yeah.
because during that time period, all he did was like, "Where's my son?
Wow.
Where's my son? Where's my son?" I'm literally sitting in front of him, but like he wasn't coherent. And the doctor explained to us like, "This is gonna go away. He's gonna start recognizing you. He's just coming out of this." Like,
He was in a different
yeah,
world.
he was in a different world, and like he lived this entire imaginary world where like his worst fears. This is my perception of it. Like
Jesus.
his worst fears, he was living his worst fears in his head
Wow.
in the coma. So that really changed my perspective of life. Like it really changed my perspective of my dad because as young kids, we're very rebellious. We're like, "Dad, you don't understand me," da da da, and we're like doing all this crazy stuff. But that really changed me, and that's when I'm like, I gotta be there for him. I gotta be there for my mom. My mom was crying, and I looked at my sisters. I'm like, obviously, you can't in our culture, we can't even like look at our sisters for help.
Mm.
So that's when I really stepped up my game. I got my GED, took the SAT, scored a good score, going to a community college, did my degree, and during my 4 years, drove a cab, supported my family because obviously, like I said, my dad was done physically, and yeah, so I did my 4 years. After my 4 years, got into tech at a good age. I think I got out at a good time, which is I would say about 10 years ago now, a little over 10, 11. So got into tech, and then from there, my career just I just slowly picked up the corporate ladder and just climbed it, and I was like, we'll get a little bit more into that later, but yeah.
No, for sure. No,
Okay.
this is actually very inspiring and it's new for me because I didn't know all of these details. I've just heard, yeah, dad was in a coma, I had to step it up, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. You've always just glossed over the real details of what happened.
Yeah, I still remember the days in the hospital to this day. Like it was very, very like different for me, and experiencing that and not having a kid of my own really changes so much for me. Like how much my father was there for me, how much he cared for me, like really wants me to like. Sometimes I feel like I can't ever even be half the father that he was to me. So no matter how many, he has a lot of bad traits, but the unconditional love, I don't think I've ever experienced that from anyone other than my father.
Other than your father.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Because I feel like, as an outsider stepping in and commenting, his unconditional love is actually masked as anger.
yeah.
So once you associate the anger that he shows for you out of the worry and the love he feels for you, then that gives you the perception. And I'm sure your situation with him coming out in the coma
Yeah,
and seeing from a third person point of view how he feels about you, that must have been very eye opening for you.
it was not just eye opening; it was like life changing. I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, so that really changed a lot of my perspective of life, how I viewed life, how I viewed even parenting, and I was just like, and like I said, like I think the greatest thing I learned from that was like unconditional love, like where like they expect nothing. As men, even your wife, your child is gonna expect from you. But I received unconditional love from him. Like he wanted nothing from me other than just to me succeed.
Yeah.
And that's very important to have in life. So some people get it from their mothers, some people get it from their fathers, some people get it from their wives. But I got it from my dad, I would say.
Yeah.
So it really touched something in my life. It really changed me as a person. And yeah, from there on forward, I was just a different person. And I started viewing family different. I started viewing everything differently. And I started working more towards being a. I started using him as an example. And I was like, I have to do better because obviously he's an immigrant. He came to this country to give us a better life. And we, as it's our job
To elevate.
to elevate 100%.
Would you say that your dad is your hero?
Oh, 100%. Oh my God, more than a hero. More than a hero. I think he had so many, like, there are so many stressful moments with him. Like, there are moments with him, like, he has said some wild stuff to me.
Yeah.
And I have reflected, and I'm just like, why is he saying this? But like the anger, one thing I've realized and I started understanding is like the anger comes from somewhere. Everyone's anger like eventually comes from somewhere.
It has to bleed out. There's only so much you can internalize it.
Yeah. So like the anger, the emotions, you really have to analyze this. And like as you grow older, you're gonna understand psychology more. And this is very, very important skill in business and life and family, with your wife, with your kids. You have to start understanding where the emotions is either love, anger is coming from. It's like, do they want something? What do they want? What do they require? But one thing I realized with him is like he wants nothing other than just me to succeed and me to do better than he did. He wanted me to see a better life than he did. He was very upset when I started driving a taxi. Like I still remember this day. He was so upset. He was just like, I cannot believe that I'm an immigrant. I came to this country and like I have to see this day where my son is doing the same job that I did for fucking 25 years, you know. But I had to do what I had to do. And luckily I got out of it. But yeah, so it was a learning experience in my early 20s. Did a lot of like shady jobs, did a lot of odd jobs. But, you know, eventually it worked out. So you just got to keep your head down and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been on every side of the
Yeah.
quote unquote societal totem pole as we see it as now today, from doing odd jobs, driving
Yeah.
a taxi at 18, dealing with a lot of shitty people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I still remember some of my taxi days were insane. You know, they were wild. Like, I remember those stories. I will never forget that.
okay, so let's take it back to the humble beginnings, before the metamorphosis, before the car accident, before the GED, before all of that. You had some pretty humble beginnings from what you've told me. You actually mentioned a pretty funny story about a certain TV show that I
Yeah.
grew up
Yeah.
loving. So why don't you share that with us?
Yeah. So this is a very funny story. We would go to, I don't even remember how old I was at this time, but this was Dragon Ball Z era. And this was like a very big thing with the young kids. And I would go to school, and there were a few things like, you know, again, New York schools are very, very rough.
Yeah.
Like the public school system in New York is, I don't think it's too far off of from jail. It's very, very rough. So they would find, and literally the kids are so just, it's very hard to explain. I think the best way to explain it is not too far off from jail. So they would like just find any point where they could just like pick on you,
One up on you.
one up on you. So I remember this one particular story where like we would go to school, all the kids would be talking about Dragon Ball Z. I didn't know what Dragon Ball Z was. And they would be like, "Oh, you saw the latest Dragon Ball Z show, this and that." They were talking about it. They were just going on and on and on about it. And then they're like, "Why weren't you know?" They were just like, "Why don't you watch Dragon Ball Z?" And I was just like, "Because I don't have that channel. You know, my parents can't afford it."
Yeah.
So the only channel that I used to watch was New York One, which was
The news.
The news. So literally all day, every day, and I still remember this to this day, that was a channel that was on. And that was a channel that I was watching. Kids would come to school, they would talk about Dragon Ball Z, the cartoons, the Powerpuff Girls, this, that, the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have any of that. I don't watch any of that. The only thing I watch is the news. And they would just make fun of me about that, like, oh, you don't have this, what the fuck, like they were just like, they would pick on me about it. So I still remember this because as a kid that really bothered me. And then I would go home and I'll be like, Dad, why don't we have this channel? I don't even remember what the channel was. I just remember the show because
Yeah.
that really, uh, you know, that was when I go home and be like, Dad, why don't we watch this show? And he's just like, we don't have this channel. We don't have like proper cable TV. We just had, literally, I remember we had a fucking antenna and whatever channel came on, and that's what we used to watch. So they always used to just make fun of me. They were talking about the latest show, and
They would ostracize you. They wouldn't
yeah,
talk to you because of that.
right, right. They didn't. They started affiliating me less, started making fun of me more, and I just was an outcast because I didn't have certain things. I didn't have the latest shoes. They were wearing like the latest Nikes,
Jordans and all
Jordans. The
that.
Jordans was a huge thing back then. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
it was a huge thing. And I would be wearing like FUBU.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had the same shit.
Yeah, and they would be like, "Oh my god, what are you wearing?" And that really bothered me. It was a ticking nerve for me.
But how does that make you feel that your son will never have to go through that at all?
I think. By the way, this is my son. I have his photo right over here.
Yeah, we'll pop him into the
Yeah,
into the video. I have my
yeah.
editor Danny put him in.
So, how do I feel that my son's never gonna go through that?
And are you worried that having a very privileged background will make him soft in life?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I am very grateful that he's never gonna have to experience the things I did.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, and this really touches point on my whole father thing. Like I started understanding a lot of his anger. He expressed his emotions for a better life for me with anger. But one thing I understand was his. One thing I understood later on in life was like, where was it coming from? Like, why did he want this? So he just wanted a better life for me. And touching base on my life with my child now is that I'm very grateful that he doesn't have to go through any of this. Obviously, we're gonna have to deal with a different generation. I'm gonna have different things to go through.
You're gonna have your own arguments and fights with him as he grows
Right,
older and he
right,
thinks
right.
he's tough.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna do exactly what my dad did. Like, you don't know what tough is. You don't know what I had to go through. You know exactly what my
Shit.
dad did.
Yeah.
So it really changes perspective of life. And I'm really glad that he's not gonna have to go through the whole like kids picking on him because he doesn't have certain shoes, certain clothes. I can provide that for him now.
No,
Yeah, so
that's
I think
wonderful.
it's a good thing, but I'm also very, very worried. And I think this is gonna be something I learned later on in life. Like he's gonna have all of the things I never had, but I think this is something I never dealt with before in the sense that I don't know how I'm gonna deal with someone that has everything,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
So
the
it's
change
really
of the tide.
it's really changing the entire generation. Like I know how to deal with someone that doesn't have anything, but I don't know how to deal with someone that does have everything.
So it's funny, and I don't think this is going to be the situation with your son, but they have the saying, um, strong, hard times create
Yeah,
strong men,
yeah.
uh, good times create weak men, and weak men create bad times for the good men. I completely
It,
fucking butchered that, but you get the
I
point.
get the point, and I heard that quote many times, and yeah, there were many quotes like that. Like I'm gonna drive a Ferrari, my kid's gonna drive a Ferrari, my kids are gonna drive a horse. Like it's like there's so many
Yeah.
analogies like that, and I truly, truly believe in that because as men, we create easier times for our children, and hard times is what really, really makes us essentially. You know,
Yes,
us having to go through challenges and failure is what literally makes us. You have to fail to succeed.
absolutely.
And that really applies to everything in life. And I can't even emphasize that enough. Failure is so important. And one of the things in life was like, I was very, very, very scared to fail. But one thing I realized was like, I accepted failure, you know?
That's,
So with my child, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that, to be honest. Like, a kid doesn't have everything I never had. And I'm guessing my father felt the same way towards me.
Yes.
You know, my father talks about his time in India. He's like, I didn't even have a roof over my head. Like literally, like I'm talking about a
Jeez.
physical roof. Like it was a courtyard. It was just a house with no roof. It was a courtyard. It would rain. It would pour in the middle. And I never understood that. So I already know that my child is never going to understand my beginnings.
No.
So it's literally history repeating itself, but in a different generation, a different time with
And in an advancement.
right. He's gonna have so many more things I don't, and it's so I'm gonna have to deal it in a different way. One thing I do realize is I'm gonna deal with it differently than my father did.
Yeah, you seem to have more of a softer touch than your father.
Yeah, my father obviously hard times
Yeah.
because he went through a very rough time.
Yes.
His his immigration time period, hopping over the borders with his
Holy
brothers and
shit.
everything is
Holy shit.
it's he tells me the stories and I'm just like I can't even comprehend to this day.
No.
So I look at him like I would never be able to do that. And when I'm gonna tell him my stories about my taxi time, my gypsy cab time, my yellow cab time, and my valet time, like working in different clubs, his my child's never gonna understand that about me.
No.
Yeah.
He's not
So
gonna be able to comprehend it. He's just gonna be able to hear it.
yeah. But with growth, hopefully, eventually, I hope one day he will. So how I'm gonna deal with it? I think it's very similar. Again, my dad dealt with the same thing, but just with different dynamics. I'm gonna have to deal with it with different dynamics, but I'm gonna handle it different than my father.
All right, to segue off of the discussion about your childhood, your son's childhood, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You've come from rags to riches. You've really made a big difference, and you're a big inspiration to not only me but your family. And you've really taken over. Why is it so hard for you to spend money on yourself?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Why? And again, I'm gonna really touch base again on my dad. Is I've seen this trait in my father, where even to this day, he's hitting almost 70, and he's considered upper middle class, right? So he's considered better than a lot of people than his age, especially in New York. Upper middle class is like fucking like wealthy in other states, right? But upper middle class in New York is pretty. You're okay. So, but he doesn't spend a dollar on himself.
No, he does not.
I never. I have not seen him, and he's still to this day. I would like talk to him like dad, like hey, you should buy this. You should go here. You should visit this country. You should go here, do that. He's just like why? And he has a very strategic mindset and like why would I spend the money on myself when I can spend it in a better place? If I can spend the money on myself, or I can save the money, or spend it on bills, or I can like exceed more further in life. And I think that's something I picked up off of him. I do the same, where I would spend almost anything and everything on my wife and on my child, on my future with my family, particularly my family, where I would not spend a dollar on myself. Like, and you know this about myself, I don't buy myself clothes. I don't buy myself a nice car. I don't do anything. And I am happy that way because when I do spend money, I have this internal feeling of guilt.
Yeah.
Like I have this feeling like if I'm going to go out and spend even money on food, like even at work, sometimes I feel guilty about it. Like I could save this 20, $30 and give it to my wife or give it to my kids.
Do you believe that's the same emotion your father has that keeps
100%.
him? Oh,
100%. I have seen him do this his whole life where even I would like I would literally go to the store with him and I was like, Dad, what do you want to eat? He's like, I'm not eating outside. I'm like, why? He's like, and it's always the same answer. Like, why spend money when I can save money? And I think I have the same mentality. Why spend money where I can save it? And I apply that self a lot to me. I don't apply it to my child. I don't apply it to my wife. My wife gets everything and anything she wants. My I try to give my mom anything and everything she wants, and my mom would spend on herself. My dad wouldn't, but I think I really just picked that up from family traits, and not just my father is like that. His brothers are like that too. Him and his brothers are literally identical to every attribute and variable to even physical attributes of themselves. They look almost identical.
They look so alike.
Yeah,
They
yes.
look so alike.
Yeah, and they talk the same. The voices are the same. So my whole family's like this. Why spend on yourself when you can save that money and spend it on your family, or you could save it and spend it on bills. So I still have that mentality.
Okay.
But one thing I would spend on, like, if I'm going out with my wife or my child, and
Or an experience.
experience. I think an experience is so much more valuable to spend money on than materialistic things.
Absolutely.
Like we went out even last night, and I spent a good amount of money, and my wife was there. And like one of the things is like, if I was outside myself, I would probably, like, for example, if we would go to the bar, we would go to the club, I'll be like, Ashif, why are we gonna spend money on drinks? Let's just drink in the car.
Yo, yeah.
And then we would just go inside and like have like 2, 3 drinks. But if I'm with my wife, I'll be like, get as many drinks as you want. We're gonna have drinks all night. We're gonna spend as much as we want. So she brings, when I'm with her and when I'm with my family, it brings a more, like, I want to give as much as I can, and I don't want her to see or even.
Because then I feel like you believe when you're with your family and you're taking care of them,
Yeah.
you're spending from a selfless point of view. But when you try to spend on yourself, you feel as if it's selfish, which keeps you from even
Yeah.
doing it in the first place.
I think the best way to explain it is like, when I'm with my wife and my family, I spend, and that's where I enjoy visually seeing them happy. Experiencing that is more valuable to me than going outside and spending on myself. I don't get much joy if I walk into like Bloomingdale's and buy myself something.
No.
Versus like if I take my wife and like she wants to buy something, I'm like, get whatever you want.
I have a question for you. So, you don't splurge. You could have a lot more than what you have. What did it take for you to pull the trigger and get your first Rolex?
Oh man. So the first Rolex, actually, this is funny. I bought it with, so Rolex is essentially is a commodity, in the sense that it's going to keep its value just like real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, when I went to purchase a watch, I wanted to buy something that's valuable, and with that, I really had a tough time even pulling the trigger on it. But I understood that it's going to keep its value, and I understood that it's going to even gain value later on in life. So I looked at it as an investment.
Okay.
So I didn't look at it as like splurging. And when I even bought it, one of the first things I did when I came home was like, I didn't wear it. I gave it to my father.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like just seeing him wearing it, and me and my dad were almost like similar in stature. We're like very like tall people.
Yeah.
So the clothes he wears, I wear. The clothes I wear, he wears. And even when my dad buys something, he comes home. He's like, "This will look really good on you.
This is for us.
This is for us." He would literally,
Yes.
he would never ever say, "This is for me."
No.
He would say, "This is for us." When I bought it, I came home and I'm like, "Dad, this is for us." So I think we use each other as an excuse sometimes to enjoy it,
to enjoy life.
but also we see more pleasure when our loved ones are gaining from it, right? So when I see him wear it, I get way more joy, way
Wow.
more joy. And I see him walk into a wedding or a reception or an event, and I see him walking around wearing a Rolex. I see him walking around. I enjoy that so much more than if I were to wear it myself.
No. Yeah.
And I think he's the same way.
Absolutely.
And we really feed off of that energy with each other, you know. And this is a really funny point. Like, even we had an event this past weekend, and like he was just like, "You should wear this. You should wear that. Have this clothes. I literally bought this suit like a couple of months ago. I think it would look really great on you. Like I got this tie." And he's like, "I got these cufflinks. They'll look really great on you." And I was just like reflecting on, like, oh my God, this is literally what I would do with him. Like if I were to buy something, I'd be like, "This will look really great on you." So yeah, it's I think we enjoy it in our own ways, and that's my way of enjoying it. When I see my family enjoy it, it makes me more happy, and that also gives me excuse to use myself, especially when my father and me are using the same things.
Yeah, and then
it justifies in my head.
Okay.
Because if I were to use it myself, treat myself, I wouldn't be able to justify the cost. Versus like if I see more happiness in him wearing it, him using it, then if I see him wear it 10 times, I'll be like, you know what, I could justify using it once.
Okay, So I believe the way that you spend money is the right way to spend money. I think even with the things that hold you back, in total, it's a net positive. However, I have a question for you.
What's up? Yeah.
Looking at yourself from an outside perspective, you see a man who's a high school dropout, went through a lot of adversity, was poor growing up, started driving a cab at 18, got his GED, got his shit together. Now he's the vice president of tech at Wells Fargo. What do you tell that man who has the same perspective as you? But it's not you. It's somebody else from the outside.
Like a younger man or someone in the same age.
You're telling yourself, but you're not you.
What do I tell myself?
In regards to the mindset about spending money and not being able to pull the trigger to treat yourself specifically.
I think that's a very tough question because everyone is very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be people out there who come from like tough beginnings, and when they grow older, they're gonna spend everything on themselves.
Yes.
And they're gonna be people who come from tough beginnings and spend everything on their loved ones. It really depends on who you are and how you take that energy and really just how you express it with it. It's just very, very dynamically. It is that's exactly the best word. It's very dynamic. Everyone is different. So my answer to that is, if you earned it, do what makes you happy. Yeah.
And treating your family and giving yourselves experiences, that's what makes
Yeah.
you happy as
Yeah.
opposed to getting anything for
Right.
yourself.
If you earned it, right? So if you earned it and it makes you happy spending on yourself, then spend on yourself. If you earned it and it makes you happy spending on others, then spend it on others.
Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, do what makes you happy as long as you earned it. As long as you, and also making sure like your family is set, your kids are set, your parents are set. You know, in America, we are very individualistic. Sorry, I like butchered
Yeah,
that word,
it's
but
all good.
yeah, but we have a very individualistic mindset where we think about ourselves a lot. We think about our future a lot. And even kids now, they grow older, they get 18, 20, the parents kick them out or they move out themselves and they start thinking about their own lives. And then when their parents get older, they don't think about them.
No.
Yeah. You know,
No.
there's that's why, you know, like the old what is that, the home care for older people is a huge business here.
No, absolutely. That doesn't have any traction in India.
Yeah, you would not find those businesses being successful in India there because of the it's our job as, you know, like, and this really touches point on even on what we discuss all the time, like when you get older, I even tell you, like, you take care of your mom.
Absolutely.
Your mom took care of you, you take care of her. When she gets older, it's gonna be your job.
Absolutely.
You know. So at the end of the day, like, just do what makes you happy. That's the best way to explain it.
Very well. So, Rajat, one thing about you is that you're very brutally honest and you don't have many friends. You told me that growing up you had a bunch of friends who were leading you around the wrong path,
Mhm.
and having them around you was a net negative. It was
Yeah.
taking you away from where you needed to be. And you've even been upfront with me by telling me that if I don't consistently elevate in life, I won't be around you either.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to have the right people around you?
Why? It's literally just common sense at this point. I think everyone should know this. It's if they're look, man, it's not. I'm not just saying financially. I'm talking about mentally, physically, financially, every aspect. They have to bring some net positive in your life. So you and me, most of 90% of our time is spent, like when we do hang out, is spent like working out.
Yeah,
There's a positive in that,
absolutely.
right? Um, if I'm hanging out with someone else and like I'm doing business with them, if my most of my time is spent like progressing in business or progressing physically or progressing mentally, it's a positive relationship. So it's very, very important to have positive relationships in your life. If someone is not bringing those positive things in your life, there's no point in that relationship. Absolutely
No.
not. It could be mentally. Some people need mental, like they need, like, you know, like some friendships need to be mentally stimulating in the sense, even emotionally. Like I would take my wife as an example. She has a friend. And I'm like, what do you gain out of this relationship? And I could not understand this for my life. You know, I'm like, what do you really gain out of it? Like, are you honestly speaking, like, I was because I don't understand it because I'm not someone that needs emotional stimulation in a sense. Like I don't need like if I'm going through a tough time, if I'm going through something challenging in my life, I don't need to talk to someone. But my wife is the opposite. She needs to talk to someone, like a therapist type shit.
But do you
You
think
know,
that may dive into the differences between men and women, masculinity and femininity?
there are some men that need to talk to people. You know,
Yeah, but would you?
people. I think it's just dependent person to person.
I feel like just based off of the stereotype, women are more of social beings and need that.
They women are more emotionally stimulated.
Yes.
That's the best way to explain it.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be like
It's not sexist. I don't.
I'm not trying to be sexist. It's just what I've seen in life. So I didn't understand her relationship for the longest time.
Yeah, you
Right?
sound like you still don't.
I still have a very hard time comprehending it. Because I'm like, what do you gain out of this? Like, if anything, if I look at it as if I were to apply my own perspective towards it, I would look at it as like, this is not a beneficial relationship towards you at all.
You sound like every time you see this friend of hers, you get very irritated and agitated.
Because I just don't see any benefit for her. But one thing I realized over the time was like it's emotionally beneficial to her.
Which is emotionally beneficial towards you.
100%. Her emotional stability, if it's giving her emotional stability and support, emotional support, it's also giving me emotional support. So I have learned to, over the time, essentially just accept and be like, that's what she needs.
Yeah,
You know?
something that may necessarily be
So,
individually a
yeah.
net negative for yourself can be a net positive for
Right,
her,
right.
which is a net positive for the family.
Yeah. It's net positive for our kid. Her emotional stability is, forget me. Her being emotionally stable, if it's keeping her happy, then it's more positive for my child. He's gonna have a more happy mother. So essentially, the whole relationship thing, to touch base on that, is it really depends on what you need, right? Do you need emotional stability, financial stability? Do you need to, there's a whole bunch of things in life. Like, what do you need? So when you have a relationship, essentially, I personally believe like it should benefit you somehow, some way. And this could sound very like dark, but it's the truth. Every relationship, friendships, or something, I believe, should help you in some way. Help them, helps you. If it's both helping both parties, it's the best relationship. But if you're just like not helping each other and you're just like freaking
In
fantasy land,
drinking.
drinking, hanging out, or like just like bullshitting, shits and giggles until you giggle and shit type of stuff. It's just like it's not gonna end up anywhere, right? And eventually you will see in life you're gonna get rid of that relationship. Everyone eventually, those type of relationships fade away.
Yeah.
They're very, very temporary.
Yeah, I can see it with myself. I feel like I'm starting to outgrow certain
Yeah.
people, and I'm comfortable on my own, so it's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
But because of my growth, I'm starting to attract people such as yourself, people where honestly, I'd say in a lot of the rooms I've been in recently, I tend to be the smallest man in the room, which I love because it's just forcing me to elevate,
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
inspiring.
Yeah, 100%. Then it gives you so many more opportunities. If you're being in a room and you're the smallest man, like I'm not talking about like physically.
No.
It could be mentally. It could be like money wise or anything like. That means you're surrounded in a room for growth, and you're surrounded with relationships that you could gain from. So it's very important. And to touch base on that, like I had friendships in my life that were like, if I sit back and reflect on it, they were not beneficial at all. I don't know why I had them. So
Company.
yeah, I mean, I guess if I were to go back in time at that time, probably it was beneficial to me somehow, some way. But now I'm a different person, and if I were to look back, I would do things way more differently.
So I wanted to ask you about something real personal to you, but something that you're very proud of. So when I first met you, before you became my big brother, You didn't look the same.
Oh yeah.
You didn't look the same.
Yeah.
It probably looks like there's
Yeah.
three of you combined into one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would let yourself go and look at you now. I'd like you to talk about the experience as to why you got to the physical condition you were in and the mentality that it took you to get to where you are now.
Yeah. So people don't know this, but I guess we could share some before and after photos.
Yes, we
Yeah,
will.
we
We
will.
will.
So I was very, very physically unfit. I'm still not at my physical goal that I want to be at, but I am a lot more physically better than where I was. I was significantly overweight. I was about what, like 275, 280 pounds of like just probably like, I don't know, like 50% body fat. It was insane numbers. And that's just what I'm saying, but I was very overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And how did I get there? This really brings back to the point of like challenging yourself. Like I got comfortable, you know. I got very, very comfortable with things in life. And I got married, and I'm sure a lot of people experience this. Like you get married, you get comfortable, you gain weight. People call it happy weight. Let me tell you, it's not. It's not happy weight because that's just justifying it. You should always, always, always be your physical, or at least try to achieve your physical best. And I was very overweight, and that's how we first, like when we first met each other. He used to see me. He was like, "Yeah, this guy's overweight." So eventually, one day, and I always tell you this, I always had it in my head, like I want to lose the weight. I want to become. I think I was very. I always used to manifest
Yes.
seeing myself as a Superman. Honestly speaking, you
I
know,
fucking love it. Keep
that's
going.
I always saw myself as that. But when I used to look in the mirror, I'm like, you are not anything of what you think you can be, and what is it going to take to get there. One day I woke up and I just snapped. Literally, it was like a switch. I got up one day and I just was like, today's the day. Started going to the gym and started working out. Started off with cardio, slowly worked up to weights, and I just never looked back after that.
Yeah.
Out of that entire experience, honestly speaking, I just wish I started earlier. That's literally the best.
People always say that, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's good to have a regret of not starting earlier to keep you in the mindset to
Right.
keep going. But I feel like we're all on the journey we're on.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you should have done anything differently. I think if you started earlier, you wouldn't have hit such a low point,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it wouldn't have allowed you to hit such a high point because you weren't nearly. Look, if you didn't get into as bad of a shape as you
Yeah.
were,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be as in good of a shape as you are
Right.
now.
Right. That's a very
And
good point. That's a very good point you bring up, because like I had to hit some low to be this driven.
yes,
You
I
know.
I believe that in life, the people with the best lives have have the most intense experiences,
Hmm.
and the highs will always match the lows. For the highest highs you reach in life, your lows are gonna be just as fucking low, and it's gonna kill you.
Uh-huh.
But those lows are the catalyst; they're the trampoline to really help you touch those highs. So
Yeah, yeah. So this is a very good point you made. So I mean, yeah, I do sit back and reflect. Like I wish I started sooner, but I probably needed to hit some mental
yeah,
point or like physical point where I'm just like enough is enough and I need change. So that's a very, very great point. And yeah, it's one day I'm just one of those people like I need like that day. I still remember it actually. I was just like, what, I'm gonna go to the gym. I don't know why, but I think I had enough of going in the bathroom and looking at myself and being disgusted. Honestly,
wow,
like I was at a mental pace. Like every day I would walk in, I'll be like, I viewed myself as this. Like I manifested this. Like I could be this, I could be that. Like, but I was getting every day very, very disgusted looking at myself in the mirror. And one day I just woke up and I'm just like, I'm tired of being disgusted. I have to do something.
wow.
And then I just started going to the gym and started working out. And then I started lifting weights. And, here we are. Like, I'm still not at my peak physical best that I want to be at, but I am way ahead of where I was, and we will share the before and after
Oh
photos.
man,
Yeah,
those are gonna go crazy.
yeah,
Those are gonna go
yeah.
crazy.
So it's it really depends on person to person, like what really pushes you. Some people need you know emotional pushing from other people, from their wives or their families, like, hey, you have to do this. Some people look at their kids and they're like, I want to be healthier and I want to be more physically fit to protect my family, or I want to live longer. It really depends
Well,
on
the
who you are.
sustainable factor
Yeah,
is needing it from yourself,
yeah,
being able to gather it from yourself internally. Because
yeah,
when you look for outernal, don't know if that's a word, outernal factors to give you the inspiration to do what you have to do, it's never gonna last because these things always fade. If you have that inner drive and hunger, that's what's gonna take you to
yeah,
where you want to be, and that's the reason you are where you are now.
yeah. So I just never looked back once I started it. It was just like,
Yeah,
you know that.
and now we
And
work out together.
yeah, now we work out together, and me, like, I'm one of those people where, like, I miss one day in the
Oh my
gym,
God, yeah.
I lose my mind because I am a creature of habit. And what I mean by that is, if I don't consistently do something, I'm gonna stop doing it.
So you have a fear that if you miss enough time, you'll be back to where
I will
you
be
were.
back to where I was, 100%.
Oh,
So it really, everyone is different. Some people can miss 2 weeks and get back in it. I am totally opposite. If I stop going for 1 week, I might never ever go back. So it's like I'm one of those people that just need to consistently do it.
I'll be
I need to
honest.
physically stimulate myself consistently to consistently keep doing it. If I don't, then eventually I'm gonna get comfortable and fall back into my old self. So it really depends on who you are as a person.
I'll be honest. After my Mexico trip, it was a bit tough for me to jump back in, but
Yeah,
I'm glad that I did it and I'm back.
yeah, exactly. And like having a gym partner is like a great help,
Oh man,
because
yeah,
I'm gonna text him like, "What are you doing? Why are you not going?" Like, so it's very important to have that too, I think.
man. I think I might actually put in that text message of the one day I told Rajat, "Hey, I don't think I'm gonna hit the gym today. I'm pretty fit. I'm feeling pretty sore." And what he said back to me, it pretty much put me in my place. And I said, "All right, whatever. Fuck it. Just pick me up. Let's go."
We'll share those text messages. You can see it's just banter talk. We're just pushing each other. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Don't
it's
don't 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 cancel us. Don't cancel us.